Hello everybody and welcome to the Showcast, a series of candid conversations from the world of film, brought to you by The Film Verdict and hosted by yours truly, Matt Micucci. In this latest episode recorded at the 2024 AVP Summit in Reggio Calabria, Italy, we speak with Marco Follini, president of the country's Audiovisual Producers Association, which organised the event. Follini shares an overview of the association's many activities and talks about the importance of the AVP Summit, which gathers national and international top producers of the audiovisual sector for networking opportunities, stimulating conversations, panel discussions on some of the most pressing topics impacting the industry, and much more, as well as some of the factors that contributed to this year's edition of the AVP Summit taking place in the region of Calabria in the south of Italy. Beyond his thoughts on more industry-related matters, he shares with us some of his earliest memories of cinema and whether he ever thought that one day he would be so involved in the world of audiovisual production. I would also like to thank Bruna Cammarano for her translation and for facilitating this conversation. And without further ado, fire up an Audiotini and listen to the audio waves as they fly through the air. This is the Showcast. Marco Follini, welcome to the Showcast. This is wonderful to have you here, as the organizing entity of this wonderful event. I would like to thank you for inviting us. It's been an amazing couple of days. You know, one of the things that I like to do for these podcasts is I like to find out more about the people I speak with and their personal sides and their passions. And I'm a cinephile, so I would like to ask you something that I'd ask all of my guests. What is your earliest memory of cinema?
Andavo al cinema.
It's not easy to mention and talk about the memories I have of cinema, my first memories, because they date back to many years ago, kind of lost in time. I do remember I was going to movie theaters with my parents. In particular, my father loved Western movies. I do remember as a child a charge of bisons almost coming out of the screen, but I wouldn't be able to say which movie it was. Certainly was not of the big important movies, but certainly was very much impressed when I saw for the first time The Godfather. This film left really a very strong mark and strong impression on my imagination, and this also tells a lot about the age being something which goes back in time. Another movie which really impressed me very much is The Leopard, the movie which was made a few years earlier. And these two movies, The Godfather and The Leopard, are the movies which left a very strong mark on me.
Did you always think that one day you would be so involved in the audiovisual production, the world of audiovisual production?
No, non lo pensavo. Nella mia vita ho fatto tante cose.
Absolutely not. I would never think I would end up dealing with these issues from the inside, but I've always been a very curious person. I always liked to change and do different things. I never liked to be just anchored to the same rock. So I always loved the opportunity of changing, and I have changed my hat many, many times. Do have this curiosity, and the curiosity is there of seeing things from the inside, going beyond the appearance, going beyond the external looks, and analyzing things from the inside, as it is the case in many other situations, in many other sectors, also in the TV production sectors. There are many things which have a connection to what I've done in the past, people I've met in the past. And like all of these things, this is a journey, and every journey has this element of discovery.
But let's talk about, the APA, I'm putting it in English terms, the Association of the Audiovisual Producers. This podcast goes out to an international audience. So I would like to maybe ask you to give us an overview of what the APA does.
È l'associazione che raggruppa I produttori di...
The Association of Audiovisual Producers is an association which groups producers producing audiovisual content. And in Italy, there has been for years a separation, a division between TV production and cinema production. But these two worlds are very close, very neighboring worlds. They're very close to each other. And there are many activities which overlap, and there are people working in one sector who do work also in the other sector. So this distinction is an artificial one, which is kind of fading away. It was called in the past APT, now it is called APA, and it is an association which was established more than 20 years ago, which has its own roots. It's an association with its own identity, and it is and its own weight and relevance. It's an association which is very useful in representing the points of view of those working in this production world. And there are people who believe that because this is an association which also contributes in implementing and carrying out and disseminating the important works which are being produced. And this association stresses also and represents and highlights the problems affecting this sector. Many people believe that this is a sector which enjoys important subsidies by the government, by the state. There have been tax benefits, namely tax credits, which have been introduced less than 10 years ago in Italy, and this is true also for other European countries. But Italy, like other European countries, do have a television which is partly in the public hands, which is partly governed by the public institutions, but it's an enterprise, it's an entrepreneurial activity, no matter what. These are businesses, these are enterprises which do take their own risk. So they need to be helped and organized.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. And I would like to also tie that in with the AVP Summit that is going on in these days. People coming from all over the world, but I'd like to hear it from you. What is the importance of this event just in general, and just having so many people travel, well, this year here in Reggio Calabria, to discuss the audiovisual production scene?
Noi siamo partiti 3 anni fa.
We started our edition. This is our third edition. The first one was held in Matera, the second one last year in Trieste, and this year we are here in Reggio Calabria. We could say somehow that this is a small Davos of the audiovisual sector. It is a traveling one, by the way. Our purpose is, first of all, to make Italian producers meet with producers coming from other parts of the world. This year we have involved people from the United States, United Kingdom and France. We hope next year that we can expand the presence of people coming from other countries so that we can exchange experiences, we can exchange stories, we can promote a kind of discussion so that we can also improve and increase the entrepreneurial aspect inside of it. As we said, we want to have these people meet and talk and discuss, and we want also to highlight which are the problems, the situations, the difficulties that contained in working in this sector, because the purpose is also to kind of represent which are the ambitions, the needs, the projects, also the difficulties that these people meet with. And this is a growing industry which has this good habit of talking and telling stories to the rest of the world. But for once, the spotlight is on this sector, is on this industry. And we would like also to stress many of the different aspects. Maybe talking about the Davos of the audiovisual can sound too much, too excessive, but this is at least the ambition, which is exactly that of talking about these issues and showing the rest of the world which are the difficulties and how the content that people watch when they turn on TV or when they access a platform, the content, how this content has come to life, how this has been produced, how this has been developed, so that people can understand that this is, however, a business entrepreneurial activity, and this is the outcome of it.
I have 2 more questions. This is a really interesting conversation, but I want to be mindful of your time. The one is very simple. I feel we should highlight that this is a traveling program. That's great, I think, because last year, for example, Trieste, this year, Reggio Calabria, 2 different parts of the country. But yeah, my question is, any reason in particular why Reggio Calabria and the Calabria region in general was chosen as the venue for this year?
Non c'è una ragione particolare che ci ha portato in Calabria. Quando pianifichiamo
There's no specific reason why we chose Calabria this year. When we plan this type of event, we get in touch with different institutions, with different regions, different situations, and it depends on the circumstances, it depends on logistic possibilities and offers, it depends on other commitments or other engagements already taken, and we would be probably positive to have a place, the same place where we can kind of establish our roots. But the idea at the beginning has been to involve all the areas, all the regions, and we can say that Calabria is a very special place in terms of its landscapes because it offers plenty of opportunities and different possibilities where you can choose also locations and places where you can go because you have different types of landscapes. You have the sea, you have the mountains, you have many different possibilities which lend themselves to tell different types of stories. And therefore, last year we went to Trieste, so it was extremely important for us to try and choose a place where to hold this meeting, which was more towards Mezzogiorno, which has been the south of Italy, which has been the area probably which has also enjoyed a considerable increase in terms of tourism, which also stemming from the prestige it has gained because of the fact that many stories and many series or many films have been shot, and therefore people are being attracted by the locations. They would like to go and visit them.
Yeah, you've been so generous with your answers, and I thank you very much. I want to be mindful of your time. But I thank you so much for joining us. And again, thank you for having us. It's been a wonderful couple of days. Thanks a lot. Well, I hope you enjoyed this conversation from the Audiovisual Producers Summit of 2024 taking place in Reggio Calabria, Italy. And let me take this opportunity to remind you that there's plenty more great podcast conversations with film industry professionals, audiovisual professionals, and creatives from all over the world that you can discover over at filmverdictnetwork.com. Whether you work in the audiovisual industry or would like to find out more about it. And to make sure you never miss an episode, you can look for us by entering TFV Network and following us wherever you get your podcasts from. Till the next time, from The Film Verdict, this is Matt Micucci signing off. See you soon.